let's now start even. Let me start the interview with you. The Ewe language was not what was very popular in music.
Yeah.
We all know that when immediately you start talking about Ghanaian music, then you know the Akan and then the Ga language. But the Ewe was not there.
Yeah.
But you stuck to it, and then you stayed with it, and you have stayed with it, and you are moving with it.
Yeah.
How difficult has it been?
Extremely difficult, from coming up from being an underground artist to mainstream. You decide to do things to be different. You have to obviously pay for the consequences of trying to be abnormal, because when you become abnormal, you're easily visible in society, and sometimes when you become abnormal, it means you have to be an outcast. So the things that face outcasts are things that you work with. Like being abnormal or being different makes people create different perceptions about you, because they have an original perception about the general way things should be. So sometimes you have to allow time to be able to break that niche. Sometimes you have to continue educating people for them to get to understand the direction that
you wanted to go.
Take. Exactly.
When you first decided to do the music in Ewe, I know people will tell you, well, why do you want to waste your time?
Yes, we got that half of the time. One of the super beat producers, Hammer of the Last Two, I'm always ever grateful to him. He saw me at a place where people didn't see me immediately, got everybody who he had worked with over a period of time, who were his team players, telling him he shouldn't choose an Ewe artist for his comeback in the industry for production, because they don't think that he would excel. And some of those people are actually proud of me now, and I think it's just human nature.
So you refuse to be confused?
More like it, and it rhymes nice. I refuse to be confused. Yeah.
No, but if we look at your albums, the first one, the second one, how would you see yourself evolving, and becoming part of a mainstay in Ghanaian music?
Okay, I think the first album was predominantly hip hop, and it was with a mindset that hip hop is always the kind of art form that came up with people having a following. So for Lil Wayne, it was Louisiana. For Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg, it was the West Coast. For Tupac, it's a certain section of America. And you always have to own that session, and then people feed off their energy so much they begin to believe in you. So I decided to apply that same strategy, and then when the people believe in you, you can then expose them to other areas of your art they didn't know. So I chose to have a strong support from home, and then the album was predominantly Ewe and hip hop. And then when I was moving to the second album, I decided to open up to other things I could do. I can do a reggae song in Jamaican English. I can do a pidgin song like Over Again. I could rap in Patois, and I could do a full English song like Warrior for Peace. And so the second album became more of songs that are continentally driven, and I think the third album is going to see more of that.
There's going to see more of that. Which of your albums would you, if you sit down, if you get back into your room, and you lie down and looking at the ceiling, which of the albums do you think really brought you this far?
I think it's always the first album for every artist. Because yes, it's always the first album, because the first album is a whole learning process. It's also a time to pay your dues. When I say pay your dues, it's a time for you to put out a record and not really expect much, because you don't even know what it's going to do. So we released the album. I released Bouger, the response is awesome. I released Brad from with Tiny, the response is awesome. I released Nonu Viade with Kwabena, and then the album shoots to superstardom. Now is the time for you to actually prove to the people that your second album is going to be as credible as the first one. So I think it's always the first album.
Can you do a freestyle of Nonu Viade for me?
Yeah. Nonu Fiade, Hablanya Planya Colon, Miapaga, and
this is quite, it's great. How do you see consistent practice, dedication, focus as a tool for your shooting to stardom?
I think it plays a very paramount role. Music is the kind of business or is the kind of work where when you're in it, what you hear every day is a lot of voices.
I ask a question because somebody will tell you, well, this is what I do. So no, it's a God gift. It's a gift from God, and so I don't need to practice. When I wake up, I can do it.
Yes, it is God gifts. You have to harness it, but I think that you have to very, very much polish it by the minute. Like I'm saying, it's the kind of art where you hear voices. When I say you hear voices, everybody thinks that because they listen to music, they can give you an idea. So an artist is somebody who gets about 10 people in a day telling you, why don't you do a song about trotro people? Why don't you do a song about taxi drivers? Why don't you do a song about TV3? Why don't you do a song about politics? So you hear all these voices every other time, and you have to keep your eye on the ball and focus on what you want to do. So it's quite...
It's confusing, but you can manage the confusion at any point in time. Now, Edem. Now, I'm always moved by your desire to do good. And when you want to do good too, you don't want to do good to let people know that you're doing good.
Yeah.
The left hand, I think it's a biblical interpretation of don't let your right hand see what your left hand is doing. Right. And I see that you are charitable. Then I saw the Volta Regime Music Group.
Yeah.
What is the focus of the Volta Regime Music Group?
The Volta Regime Music Group, we are a group of young, driven set of guys who believe that the Volta Regime, as my first album, wasn't just about music. It was a journey of belief. It was a journey of trying to break bounds. It was a journey of trying to make a difference, and so it could be applicable in any other person who wants to become a lawyer, who wants to become a banker, who wants to pioneer a new movement in Ghana and propel the nation. So we feel that because that was what the album stood for and could be applied in other spheres of life, we should use it to headline our everyday activity and let it be our drive towards everything we want to do. Yes, we have the Volta Regime Music Group. The bigger picture is the Regime Group of companies, and so you're going to be driving that goal gradually until...
What do you want to do this year? 2013. What is your focus for this year?
2013, the team wants to be visible on the continent of Africa. Heba is on Channel O. It's going to be on MTV Base Africa by the end of the year. It's going to be on Trace TV, and so we want music made in Ghana to be visible on the continent, yeah, and extremely visible, yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Now, if I should ask you, you have a very strong fan base.
Yeah,
you want to underestimate it, but a very strong fan base.
Yes,
for the values and ideals you stand for. Those who are serious always want to identify with you. You know that.
Yes, I do get a lot of very, very how would I put it, people who I revere, people who I look up to, telling me they like the direction I am taking as a young kid. And for me, each other day is just humbling enough and very inspiring for me to be a kid who is just seeing one side of the ball, and people who have been around it telling me they think I'm in the right direction.
And you're moving on. Yeah. What would you want to tell your fan base? The huge numbers there. What would you want to tell them in 30 seconds? What
I basically have to say is when somebody in your neighborhood needs one cedi to go to school and you are able to give the person that money, you're part of that Volta Regime Music Group mindset, and you're part of that Volta Regime Foundation mindset. You don't have to go and put it in a company's bank account, or you don't have to necessarily organize a lot of money and go and give to an orphanage to make a difference in somebody's life.
That is great. Yeah. It's a pleasure talking to you.